Ooh, yeah. Okay.
You just got
Yes.
swapped.
Oh, there you go. My voice is working. This is not working. Properties. There we go. You guys talk.
We're talking.
This
Okay,
one
cool.
time at
Okay.
Aaron Camp.
This one time at Aaron Camp. That's a terrible way to start a story. Definitely won't end.
And follow me on this. Fantastic.
I guess it depends on the channel that you're streaming the story from. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome to Wednesday night. Maybe we'll eventually get back to a Tuesday one of these days. We're working our way back. But yes, we survived the great Spectrum outage of 2028. I'm sure there will 2028. 2024.
Oh no!
Oh no!
How do you know?
I have foreseen it.
Cassandra! The spirit
have-
of Apollo is with us. You have to give to
It's
prophecy.
Cassandra. It won't come true. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No worries. Yes. It already feels so much more empty. I'm going to have to try and adjust these cameras so that they fill in more of the screen because, you know, it's so much smaller. Hello.
In us.
And biggin. Yeah, no, I'll work on it. I'll work
Perfectly cromulent use of screen space. It's fine.
on it. I know. Well, I think because I made it on a jiffy because I had to adjust because someone wasn't gonna be here. So now I have to just
That jerk.
whoever that was. I don't even remember when that was. It's okay. It's a long time ago. Nobody remembers.
Benthos?
No, because then that would be extra. In any case, here we are, ready to play some games. So this should be fun. Announcements?
Well, in 2 weeks from today, we do vampire stuff. We're doing some spooky summer shenanigans. Where I'll be running Vampire the Masquerade, Savannah by Night. Further details are in Discord.
Yeah, Discord. If you guys don't have a really great Southern accent, I'm gonna be very upset.
You do realize
don't
not
think-
everyone in the South speaks with a heavy Southern accent, right? I mean, it's not
Born and
all
raised
just
in the
people
South.
speaking with, mouthfuls.
I have a
of Southern-
Tennessee accent.
I have a
That's-
Yeah,
Mississippi
but it
accent.
needs to be from Savannah. No, I'm just kidding. I
I don't
know
think
that.
a single
I know it
character-
doesn't. I know it doesn't.
Also, my character's from even more north of me. Not where I live
However,
now.
Mm.
Graham is playing a lot of NPCs, so maybe we'll get some of those dulcet tones anyway.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. I was talking to one of the girls at work day before yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, you know what? She said I was starting to play Red Dead Redemption, and suddenly I had the urge to play like a D&D game set in Western." I was like, "Let me tell you about a little character that we played with for several years." So I told her, "Oh my gosh," I told her all about you, Graham. It was beautiful.
Did you tell her the irony of the Canadian playing the Southern?
Yep. It was beautiful. It was glorious.
What was funnier to me though afterwards is that before you'd even decided this was going to be like a Greek campaign, like it was just the idea of where's going to be a new campaign. We'll talk about characters and all that stuff later. My first thought was a gunslinger. She was going to be an elf, but I was still going to give her an accent, and I was going to like, oh god damn it, Aaron, I made another Kentucky Fried Elf.
Be
You know-
warned, viewers of Vampire, Graham's NPCs are hot and scary.
I mean, you know,
Often at the same time.
often scaroused. That is such a great term. It applies to so many things in life. I guess. I don't know.
I think that just told us a lot about you.
Name one terrible thing I've ever done to either of you. Really, name one.
I mean, not me personally, but a character.
We'll fix
I
it.
haven't even gotten started with the character.
I brought it on myself. Really, all of the times.
Your character started with a bad time.
All right.
I think we've killed enough time. So
Yeah, let's get jumping. It's just because we missed Saundered. That's what it is.
oh, speaking of which, I'm wearing
Yes.
a shirt in Astra's honor.
Hey. There you go. There you go. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right.
Or wherever that was.
Wiggle my chair over. Okay. I think we're ready to go. Let's get rocking with tonight's episode of Age of Myth. Wee wee wee. And we're back. Long, long time ago, in a galaxy that is our own, we find ourselves here on the edges of a coastline, recently. How would I describe this?
Battered?
Battered is a good one. Yeah, we'll go with that. Recently battered. A group of individuals sits on a beach. In the distance, a ship prepares to sail away. You have just witnessed your Capitanios and friend, Astrid. I'll say Astrid Romanov. I don't know why she suddenly became a Black Widow, but here we are. Fly off into the air with her companion, a very powerful Orphic by the name of Astra. Recently, you had just discovered that this wrecked ship that is now smoldering and still crumbling in fire behind you had been lost in some sort of shipwreck or ship attack. And after having done some digging around, had fallen under attack by strange smoky rubble creatures and a kraken amongst a few Sahuagin that took the opportunity as well, all of them showing some sign or another of having been touched by the plague. And we sit here now as the Hawk of the Sea prepares to leave. You can hear the shouts of the crewmen as they go below decks and start to get the oars ready to give chase to the Kraken that had just assaulted you and them. The four of you, having caught your breath, as it were, and still possibly mulling over what it means now that Astrid has left for the time being to pursue not only this Kraken that had assaulted her once before, but also apparently had stolen the first mate of the ship and a beloved of Astrid, Eric's. What are you guys doing?
Well,
The
what
sun.
time is it? Sorry.
You look up at the sun and you stare directly. Find it very odd that you can stare directly at it. This white orb that hangs in the sky. Not a cloud is spotted in the horizon, and yet the sky is almost a bluish gray in color. The shadows elongate around you, almost as if you are in a sort of dusk. The sun should be like as if the sun was setting, but there are no orange and golden hues. The sun still hangs at midday, but there is, as if overcast, a dark, gray, pallid color to the world around you. You're probably looking at somewhere at just after midday, but it is currently considered dim light.
That answers my question.
May I religion check to figure out what the heck is going on, at least according to my religious tradition?
Sure.
Off to a good start. The new D20. That will be a 23 for Themisto.
23
There on the
fold. That's where my mind was going immediately. Where they talk in just but a whisper, because we don't want to be loud and disturb the other players. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
PR Iskra would be the greatest DLC ever.
That's a map. What's a Google Maps or Waze edition that I want to see. Please.
Let's talk after. We can make something happen.
What did you say? 23.
Yes.
How would Iskra? Is this like going back knowledge wise? Is this like through a ritual? How would you say you are trying to gather this information?
Well, I imagine that Themisto uses. She's going to sit down in the sand there, and she's going to open up her wax tablet and take out the stylus and just use it as a thinking tool. And she's going to think back to when she was so nervous about the possibility of the sun not rising in the first place, right? And thinking about, okay, what did the priests tell me about this? And all of us, as we were little ones. And now with what I know about the nature of the gods, what could it mean? And if she can't put that second part together, that's fine.
Right, right.
All she remembers is just some anecdote, then that's fine too. And I will ask my allies about how to contextualize it.
Okay. You sit and ponder and you think, any of the oral or written histories, the stories told from before of the gods, they all jumble together because, like you said, there is a part of you that has grown to know them as these deities that have created and held aloft these celestial bodies. But now, what could this mean? The light of the sun still hangs there. It's not gone. Part of the initial fear that I would say that you probably felt in wondering what would happen with Apollo, the person you thought of as Apollo, being killed in front of you. You imagined that the sun would not rise, that the darkness would overtake the sky. But that had not happened. No, this instead feels shaded, like something is covering or transposing itself between you and this golden orb in the sky. It doesn't even look gold anymore. It's just this white spherical shape in the heavens. And never before have you beheld it, because it's always pained you to look at the sun. And now you just look up and it's like looking at a light bulb. Like you look away from it and you have that like after image that you would from looking at a light bulb. You have that little floating multicolored light that kind of floats around your eye, right? But it doesn't cause you pain. It maybe causes you some discomfort, but it doesn't do nearly the power. It doesn't have nearly the power that it did before. Something is shading,
Mephisto
consuming.
puts the stylus in, like the tip of the stylus in her mouth for a second, ponders. Then she says out loud to no one in particular and to everyone, it is almost as if those rare times when Artemis comes between Apollo and the Earth. When there is a temporary darkness, when Nyx rises. But this is different because we can still see the sun. So I doubt that it is her. It is still familiar, though. Something between us.
Laertes is going to, and he's finally kind of less discombobulated, I guess would be the way to put it, is having a certain amount of understanding of the level of physics that he has at hand. A bit of mechanics. One of the papers he handed to Hecate was about the heliocentric universe. And there doesn't physically appear to be anything in the sky, yeah. Like it's just still acting as if, it's like a haze, a smog kind of thing, but physically nothing there.
Correct.
He's going to kind of just put his hands like in the air, almost like he's trying to touch an invisible body of water. A little like Stargate when Daniel Jackson's first trying to go through it. And and as soon as his fingertips come into contact with just a certain portion of the air, there's that sort of slight blue string rippling around them as he's trying to get a sense of if there's anything different about the air, the sky around them, at least, as he's going to ritually cast Identify. Or actually, he's going to do both anyway, so it's going to be both Detect Magic and Identify.
Okay. So you spend what?
This is going to be like 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Basically, the way he's doing this, like you see him kind of reaching into effectively the ether and
Right.
but in such a way that he's almost looks like he's drawing math, like invisible math chalkboard kind of thing, abacus, as he's just moving things around and adjusting, but it's not necessarily shapes that are discernible as much as he's just moving bits and pieces, little small cogs of the universe around him to try and get this a sense of what the machinery is doing.
Hmm. Okay. 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 Uh.
Laertes is gonna spend 20 minutes on this. May
Mhm.
I say a little something? Um, so as Laertes gets into like some sort of process has kicked off with the Misto statements, she's gonna let him do his thing. And keep an eye kind of his direction in case he needs her. Um, is Carisha on the shore still with us?
I'll reach out and see in case she is.
I'm sure she was close by. She had just delivered Themisto on the beach, so yeah.
I would like to go over and reach out and pat her. Like, thank you, Carisha.
Hold on. Nope, can't do it. My lips aren't. I'm not. Hold on.
Sploosh.
So, can I make the right? Nope. Nope, it's not
Apparently-
working. It's broken. My horse sounds broken.
Does it say nay?
She's
Every
not
day.
really a horse.
That's fair. Also fair, but it's a water. It's like a water horse. So
Yeah.
I was trying to. I don't
You could
know
have gone
why.
with seahorse. It was
I
right
was-
there.
For whatever reason, I cannot flutter my lips like I normally can to make a horse noise. It's fine. But she just
Cypress,
kinda,
your
like, shakes.
instruction to her was crucial. It helped me get to Laertes in time, I think, to save his life.
Sorry, I was distracted.
Ah,
Cypress was looking out at the sea in the direction of the ship as it left.
I was just remarking on your quick thinking.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm frankly a little surprised that we all survived. It was harrowing.
Indeed, it was.
It does bring the most immediate question to my mind of where, not where, but how we keep going. We need a vessel, or we need some other method of transportation. Carisha can carry one of us partially across the water, but cannot manage all four of us, and certainly not for long.
I think we go inland to Sparta.
You think we can get a ship there?
I think you're right. We could, if we need to get to the sea again. The Spartan fleet was never as renowned as the Athenian or the Corinthian ones, but I think it will do. And with Astrid on the water, if Negush is out there, I know that she won't let it rest. She will do what needs to be done and then move on.
I guess then the next step would be finding another vessel.
Not if
So-
we head inland.
True. But I mean, for the long term, we eventually will need to. Or are, with my geography potentially off, are we
We're on the mainland. We have
okay.
to walk to Sparta.
It's okay, Cyprus. We know that everything is an island to you, so.
Everything's an island. I mean, I'm from an island. We've been at nowhere but islands.
Thebes is an island.
Well, in that case, I guess yes. Cyprus goes to Davos and Xanthus, and first of all sees how they are doing.
They're stunned into silence at the moment. Oh. Still
Cannot
can't hear
hear
you,
you.
buddy.
I don't know if you're trying to do voice mod, but
There you go.
Okay. Phew.
What was that?
Oh,
just the monkeys in Cypress's head.
I heard something that I feel like sometime in the far future would be related to like a group of travelers and very fanciful things that people don't ordinarily see
Immediately
in their local
scram
lives.
Dionysus to it.
It will be very popular for a while, but then it will get the connotation of being like a scary place and also having some like I don't get
Must
it
be
really.
the wine madness.
oh no. Anyway, sorry, my headset is old and apparently it needs replacing. So, okay. As you were saying about not heading inland. That's the last thing that I had heard. I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, I was seeing how Davos and Xanthus are.
Davos seems to be talking with Xanthus. They're pretty close, but they're talking to each other in hushed tones. And
Noble Spartans.
if you pay them any attention, then they will like straighten up and kind of, or ask them anything, they straighten up and like, what? Sorry?
Noble Spartans. I believe our next step is to head further inland. Do you think that we should know anything or be prepared for any kind of trouble in your homeland, being who we are?
Provided that depends on what you mean by who you are.
We'll just have that be an encompassing statement.
I cannot speak for the entirety of my countrymen.
Makes sense. Do you think we'd be waylaid? Not necessarily by thieves, can't account for those, but would the officials or people of Sparta attempt to halt us on whatever passage we attempt to make?
I guess that depends on what you are trying to do and what they know of you. There are a lot of things that we are but soldiers, Cyprus. I cannot speak, as I said, for my countrymen or those who would run things. I believe it is under the orders of Ares that you are to not reveal your true identities, correct?
Oh, yes.
Then I would probably suggest you follow that directive.
Was it our identities or simply our natures?
That you are demigods?
Yes.
Probably something you want to keep to yourself.
Okay. I mean, that hurt. Just making sure that to remind myself that I wouldn't be breaking that code by saying, "Hi, I'm Cyprus," as I have.
He puts his hand on your shoulder. Did you hit yourself while you were fighting earlier?
I was brutalized during that fight.
That was
I hit
brutalizing? You poor Theban. He rubs a hand on top of your head and just kind of ruffles your hair a little bit and then gives you an affectionate like pat on the cheek.
I'm curious what those two gestures mean to your people. They might mean something different to where I'm from. But we can discuss that later.
Phoebe, what were you gonna say?
Um, Phoebe has been looking up at the sun. What can any of you tell me about Helios?
Who were you asking?
Just the group.
Oh,
Um, Mr. Still kind of paying attention to what Laertes is doing, and now looking up at the sun too. Will say to Phoebe, well, Helios is of course considered a god of the sun, but in the stories that I heard in Apollo's temple, he once allowed his son, Helios did, to drive the chariot of the sun. And this did not go so well. And as a result, Zeus punished him and took the title away. This is why Apollo does it most of the time these days. From what we understand now, of course, this is maybe not as close to a telling of the truth as I once thought, but perhaps there is a shade of it there. I would say that he is, if he is out there, and the story is any sort of truth, a man who is both familiar with power and what happens when it is misused.
That is something I would like to try with your help, Themisto.
Of course.
And at any point, Aaron, that you need to cut back to Laertes, just let me know.
okay. Laertes, as you are focusing in on this with nothing super directly to focus onto, there's nothing that seems to you latch onto in the air around you. This doesn't seem localized. You look down each direction, left and right, up or north and south, up along the beach, and it's not like you see in the distance the edges of a cloud, you know, like where you normally would see like a cloud or like shape or whatever. It just looks like it goes on all directions that way, and it looks like it goes on all directions that way. But there's nothing specific for your identify to latch onto. Detect magic wouldn't pick up anything either.
Okay.
Both of these have too close of a range.
I figured it was a long shot. It just try
Yeah,
something.
just something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least you've ascertained that within your immediate vicinity, there doesn't seem to be any Orphic power at or beyond at foot. It's just, it seems like it just comes from beyond, and it is, in fact, to the point, it even is starting to kind of cool down a little bit.
I'd say as it becomes apparent that this, whatever it is, has to be further away to act like kind of like a sheer umbrella. He steps back and he peers up, and he starts doing some math in his head because of what he's seen from the star map back at the colony. They gave him at least a rough approximation of the planet, the local orbital wow, I cannot English right now. Orbital mechanics, the sun
Yeah.
and everything, all the little like dipping gravity fields and everything, which was delightful because he finally got to visualize something he's always internalized, and he's trying to, I guess, extrapolate where you would have to put something that could create that effect. Like if it's a physical object that could do it, or if it's. I have no expectation he's going to get at an answer. He's just grasping at straws, trying to figure some stuff out
Right.
while to give himself a problem to work on the walk is really what it is. But they can see that he's kind of just sitting there, kind of just doing air math, trying to figure this out. He's kind of tuned out for what they were doing or talking about because it's just like I get to distract myself from that awful scene a moment ago, and I'm gonna focus on this.
Right.
So
Um, you stare out at the horizon and scan from horizon to horizon, and you look over and you see the Hawk of the Sea is now facing, whereas like they were kind of parallel with the shore, they are now like perpendicular to it, but they have moved apparently a little closer. And you see from coming over the side and onto the a little more shallow ends of the shoreline, as they have rowed it a little closer, a large amount of cloth that is currently like pulling themselves over off the side of the ship and lowering themselves into the water. And you hear from a distance away,
Ah, for the love of God's why?
and coming up the shore with a bundle of things above her head, you see Ma'al Saj'ul bringing her goods as she's like,
She was on the boat.
she gets up to where you guys are at and throws her, for all intents and purposes, a giant throw bag of goods that you hear clink, clunk, 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 as it like falls onto the pebbled beach. And she takes pieces of her robe and is just like wringing them out to this large, bluish, dragonborn, matron lady.
Ugh. Getting wet was not what I expected to be doing today. Should have known taking a ship would have led to unpleasantness.
I
also-
imagine this calamity that's going on over here has broken his reverie of mathematics and just oh, do you mind if I try something very, very quickly?
What?
And he's just gonna sort of wave his hand up and down, and there's a sort of roll of almost like static electricity, and she just is no longer having that particular issue to bitch about, but I'm sure she'll find something new.
Ugh.
But I'm just gonna take that one thing off her plate.
She brings up the edges of her robe and is just like,
You would have been a very handy companion when I was crossing the deserts of the south.
Oh, well, you'd have to still carry your own books.
Not if I asked nicely, I'm sure.
The mister was. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no.
You wouldn't deny the polite pleading of a older woman with a bad back and frail arms.
You don't look a day over 90. I'm sure you'll make it work.
She kind of just like blows out a little water from her nose. Just like,
I'd offer to carry them for you, but if we were attacked, I'd very much just forget myself and toss your stuff literally on the ground, like throw it.
I'm sure it is handled worse, but it is not the point. I found myself wondering, Mal, what would be worse? Traveling with 4 demigods, or traveling with mortals who had just been attacked by a kraken? I find the choice was difficult. both wrought with danger, both uncomfortable, both enticingly entertaining. And only one promised to not make me seasick. So, you've been blessed with my presence for the time being.
Mm. That actually does raise a point of where do we go from here?
Before we figure that out, there is something I must try to do.
Hmm.
Simisto, if I can borrow your shield.
Yeah, of course. And the Mister will take her shield from where it is lashed on her hip, since it's a very lightweight shield, uh, and hand over this round but with kind of a scoop out of the top shaped shield. In the center is image of the sun, but wreathed in branches, essentially. Um, an old symbol showing Gaia and Apollo at Parnassus together. Not commonly used, but the Mister uses it.
Baby's going to put the shield into the sand, sun side up. And knowing that the sun is dimmer, so it wouldn't catch the sun in the same way it normally would at midday, she's still going to try to like change the angle of it to best catch what little light there is. And then she is going to cast light into the center of it as strongly as she can, hoping that the reflection will beam the light back up into the sky. And out loud, she'll say, Helios, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you are still there, I need a teacher. I am like you in some way, and while my brother cannot help you, who we originally called God of the Sun, I could use your help.
You cast this light, and it catches the center of the shield, and like, you ever been, I guess maybe when you go camping or you're just out in the backyard at night and you have a flashlight and and you do it upwards and there's just enough. This particularly, I guess, would be more so camping because the effect that I'm thinking of is kind of like when there's like smoky air. You can almost visually see the cone of light. There is around you light, but it has limitations. It only goes to the extent that your light's range can cast. Normally, like you wouldn't be able to see or really tell how far out the light goes, right? Like it just would go until it dissipates. This definitely has you can almost see a dome, especially if you're with the shield facing upwards. It almost has like a dome-like light source to it. It provides light in this area. Bright light within its space, but where it normally would fall into dim light after that, it just ends there. It just seems like it's capped off by the air around you. And you wait and think to yourself you await the sensation you normally would have when you've prayed to Apollo or to some of the other gods, and there is that sense of something, a sense of connection, I guess. But you don't feel that this time. And you kind of bite your lip in not doubt, but you're just like, you don't know if that worked or not. But you know at least now what the effect your light will have. And it does light the space around you. It is not consumed by whatever is hiding away the sun right now. Drinking it. This could come in handy. Especially once the sun begins to fall.
Don't like that phrase.
How do you spell sun in this context?
S-U-N.
Okay.
Never mind.
Ma'al,
Worth a try though.
Ma'al comes over to you, places a hand on your shoulder and pats it.
So did he answer?
No. There are others to yell into the void that though.
Oh, is there ever? There's always someone to yell at. I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy yelling at that one.
She points over at Cypress.
You know a few of the names that was given from Kemet.
Yes, I suppose there is some truth to this as well. Though I must admit I never did meet any of them. You all are the first.
That you know of.
Fair. But catch me if I was to ever be one of these demigods. Nobody could keep me shut about it. You would all know and kneel before the great Mal Sajul, goddess of whatever. Goddess of seasickness.
Did Cypress already divine censor? I feel like I did.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mister will go ahead and give Phoebe a squeeze and say to her, we can try again later on today.
I don't know if there's anyone else to answer.
Maybe we just need to learn his rights.
Maybe
Maybe.
the Spartans or anywhere along the way could teach us something. There have been a number of stops along the way that have had special attunements to a number of the gods.
Which, that is right. We must head to Sparta.
Hope everyone is ready to walk.
Well, perhaps Maul could
bones are
ride
cracking.
Carisha.
Oh, something for me to ride would be nice.
I don't recommend long periods of time with a lot of fabric that gets very wet and you'll chafe. If you have something waterproof as a saddle, then that would probably nix most of that problem.
Well, where are we off to, young fearless leaders?
Sparta.
Where is that?
Apparently, Cypress just looks the opposite direction of the beach, and it's like
I
we
will
wanna
say
somewhere that way.
you were going south along the coast because you knew that there was a city in that direction. To get your bearings, if you wish.
I was gonna say, because we were originally orienting off of Zerax as an island east, where we were gonna originally go to potentially. to deal
Yeah.
with the harpies and or Nagoosh. Where are we in relation to that right now? 'Cause I
Well,
feel like Laertes would have been paying attention to that, at least to some extent.
um, I believe that you had been. All I remember is you were going south. I thought you had been to Prusay, but I don't think you had been to Prusay, hadn't you?
Yeah, we were
Mhm.
And then you
leaving
left there.
Prusay
So
because we were
the
looking at going east from Zarak, so that's
right. So then, if you were doing that, you would be somewhere between Prusay and Kypantha because you hadn't been gone from Prusay very
Okay.
long when you discovered the wreck.
Mm-hmm. It had only been
Okay.
what, like 2-3 hours?
Yeah.
okay. So I'll dream up a sort of blue wireframe map of where we'd been going, and because I feel like I've looked at the map and extrapolated off of it multiple times at this point, and so I would, based on what the captain had shown us, should be able to go. We're here, or yeah, I'll put a great big red dot of "We are here," but in Greek, and then go like dotted line to actual like proper Sparta.
Oh my gosh, I have this really crazy notion.
Cypress.
Go ahead.
Cypress looks at it, and he, after a moment, where's Thebes?
I'm gonna sort of just like sweep it aside like a rolling like holographic table kind of thing over to the Thebes that is not an island.
No. It's an island now. We're changing geography. All right, I have an idea.
Well, one way or
It's like
another,
members
Cypress
of the-
seems very confused.
Members like the Flat Gaia Society over here, where
All right, hold on. I have an idea. This might work. So for everybody, oops, nope. For everybody at home,
It worked.
kind of. Oops, nope, that's the wrong button. This one. You guys were. I need to make this a little smaller.
Hey.
It is
Hey,
a you are here.
And so you are kind of like there-ish. You guys had been traveling from Prusay downwards. No, it's okay, Rachel, and especially with these, some of these places exist and some of them don't. So don't worry about it. You were going this way. Sparta would have been westward from Prusay, but you were gonna basically what you had decided you were gonna try and do was gonna go south along the coast, go up to Ferre, and then from there go this way, just to kind of see if there was anything along this coastline that you were wanting to check out. So you were kind of at the moment. This gets smaller. I can't even see it at the moment. It's just the red shaped squares.
can
There you
you
go.
zoom in the actual like map image itself? That might
No,
okay.
because I had to like. Well, I could do this. Hold on. I could try and make this bigger this way.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but it's not zooming in. I just have to like.
Tomato to murder.
It's here we go. And
Yeah,
then-
so it's basically just sort of west with a bit of a northward curve.
yeah.
You
Is-
say tomato, I say ketchup.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll just leave this right here. I'm gonna stop
Do
playing
we-
with my.
Do we need to find your reset button, buddy?
Oh,
He reset when his internet went out.
For real. Okay.
I don't think he's updated since. That's the issue.
Yep. All right. So, what you guys wanting to go southwards to see if you catch the next city and then find a road? You just want to hoof it across the countryside, mind you. We had this conversation. Oh, I had this conversation with Sonder when we were talking about the size of Greece. Like, in comparison, for us Texans, the amount of how many Greases we can fit in Texas is ridiculous. So, Yeah, no, it's a true fact, y'all.
Greece than a state fair.
um,
I'm just not gonna say all the things I'm thinking of right now.
You never should. Bad things
Mm.
happen.
Greece. I
that
found this
on
is the
Wednesday.
thing. This is the thing. Greece, with an area of 50,000 square miles, could snugly fit into Texas more than 5 times.
We are
Granted,
walking, though.
we are walking.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not suggesting. I'm just saying, like, it is still like. I was like, there could be 5 Greases in Texas. Is wild, but yes. So it is up to you. Like, you can find a major
the
road,
lemon
or
spices.
just you can, like, go across the countryside.
Well, if we're somewhere between Presea and Kypantha, is that it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like the major road's going to be between Sparta and Presea. So if we want to just head back up there, is my thought.
But
They're
if
trying to cut
Persei
through the
is
wilderness.
smaller, then maybe Kypantha is where the better road would be.
That's a
So-
fair point. Do we know that, Aaron?
I would imagine not.
Okay.
My instinct is to, unless we have a reason to otherwise, which we very easily may, I don't know. My instinct would be to cut across country, head straight there.
I would advise against this. It may seem to be faster after all, but I grew up in the mountains, and let me tell you, trying to go across country, up and down in terrain that does not have a trail, it is not so good. Fun for, an afternoon, right? But if you're actually trying to get someplace,
Spoken like someone who has good knees still.
Look
I
at
have
they're covered in
excellent
bees.
knees. When my knees die, I die.
Our Spartan friends, do you know which way would give us a road most directly to Sparta?
Davos sighs heavily. Honestly, I've never been this far south into our lands before. I have not been to Presea except for this recent time, and Kypantha even less so. But Sparta is a cultural center for our land, so most villages of any significance have at least a direction to head that would take you there. I would imagine that coastal towns such as these that provide a fair amount of trade for the rest of the lands within would have some means of traveling in a safer and more trail-laden way to Sparta.
My vote then is to head south. With the new town, maybe we'll pick up a little more information before heading inland.
and that's my thought as well. Even if the road is a little longer, in the end it may be better appointed. Or perhaps in our search for truth, going somewhere we have not yet been is the best course of action.
Xanthus goes over to Ma'al. Don't worry, man. I will help you carry your things.
There is a future in the generations to come after all.
And she kind of gives Cypress a little glare.
Notice
Cypress, like turns to Phoebe and says, "She did hear me offer, right?"
I mean, you also don't promise to throw her things off the side of the road.
It's a good warning. It's me knowing myself. But fine, I didn't want to carry it anyway.
Well, if you're going to start walking south, we need to start now.
Hopefully we can make it to... What is this next town?
Kypantha.
Hopefully we can make it to Kypantha before she'll look up at the sun. Whatever falls.
Mm.
If it was dark at whatever time of day it should be, it'd be very hard to see later.
All right. Well, before we get walking, a quick check. We've just been in a fight after all. How is everyone feeling? Do you need any more attention? And do we have all of our things?
I'm good. Definitely not little sore. In terms of me, I'm quite fine. And I'm not entirely out of resources. But most of the things that I would channel or do are not an option if we were to run into trouble. All that to say, spell slots out. Half of lay on hands is out as well. But otherwise, 1 point away from full health.
Themisto would get the impression that between all the healing that happened, that Laertes is physically fine. But despite being able to kind of just static sweep any of the grossness of everything away, there's still that burgeoning like flop sweat of someone who's very tired, and he's trying to hide like that, like his hand is shaking more than it usually does.
Phoebe will give the mister kind of a cheeky side eye. Attention, you say? No, I'm all right.
The mister will smirk a little bit. But as we are in the company of our companions, she won't say anything more. And how about Maal, Davos, and Xanthus?
Davos and Xanthus look a little beaten, but they don't look bad. Maal looks fine. Crotchety as ever.
Xanthus is missing an arm. His a Spartan scratch.
Yeah.
He's actually just carrying it in his other hand to scratch his back.
Oh
Genius.
no. Maal will say,
I did quite enjoy the flair that you all fought with. At least from the distance of the ship before things went south there as well. You all are quite capable. Surprising, but also, I suppose, not so much, considering what I have seen so far.
I've got to say, a tentacle is not my favorite thing to be embraced by.
You aren't kidding. I stayed far away. Stayed far away from those. Always.
You're very lucky that it didn't attack the ship first.
It did.
You're very lucky that the ship was left standing. I got hit real hard by a tentacle.
In his defense, he was dealing with a lot on the beach at the time, so...
I
Well,
think this dent didn't used to be here.
I am glad at least that our, even in deaths, are an entertaining story. So
I was ready to tell tales of how you fell to the Kraken in beautiful light and blood, but you all survived very nicely, so did not. And you, Themisto, who would have guessed that you would have been able to take wing like the gods themselves, flying across the sky?
Laertes is walking, by the way.
that was not of my volition. Yeah, we're gonna start walking.
So we should go while we still have the light.
I thought the scream would have maybe given away that it was not my idea.
What scream? I heard the battle cries. You dove into the waters with your sword swinging, ready to strike the very heart of the kraken itself.
Ah, right, not trying to break my fall.
I will tell you a secret, dear. It is not always the actuality of events that make the best stories. Most stories are going to have just a little bit of embellishments. They always, all the good ones do.
Cypress, I have a feeling you are going to be a hero in no time.
No time. No time will you ever be a hero. Oh, no, you mean as in like in no time as in he will. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the context of the conversation. You will be a hero in no time, I'm sure.
I'm torn because while embellished stories are literally what I'm originally here for, if I can't back them up with deeds, then that would very easily be disprovable.
Who's going to disprove them, darling?
The ones who would
Cypress.
test me for them.
You came back from the brink of death with nary a scratch. I think the stories are true.
I mean, this dent, but
I mean, you just hit the other side and it pops
It,
out, right?
it gives you character. It says, I am rough and tumble. Mostly tumbled, but also rough.
well, my skin was a little better than. Oh, yes.
She just does the.
I like to think I keep healthy. Cypress turns the baby like it. Am I missing something?
Beautiful. Okay. So you start on your way south. Tiki, 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 tiki.
Everyone's got a little taste of what the conversations are like. as they're
Yeah,
walking.
basically.
Malinarities, I do have a question for you. You being our two scholars. I'm going to say a few names and let me know if you know anything about them. Aten, Atum, Ra, Shemesh, Mithra, Brigid, Belanos, Mihir, and Inti.
Some of those I know from Kemet.
Mal nods.
And Mithras is a little bit closer to the sort of things I grew up with.
And names of other sun gods Apollo gave to me a long time ago. Was why I tried to get this Helios's attention. He was another name on that list. Astrid actually gave me the idea that maybe while I cannot talk to Apollo, maybe someone else could help mentor me. But I don't know. Helios didn't answer, so.
Well, just because he doesn't answer doesn't mean others won't, or that he won't answer eventually.
I could need to spell out and fatter. If you are a sun god, please let me know.
I
But
did
from-
spend the first 22 years of my life not hearing from Gaia.
See?
I've
you just,
also
you just had to wait 22 years. You'll get
shipping
there
and
eventually.
handling. Business days.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's in her middle age, plants a pet cat in a Subaru phase, and she finally gets a letter. Read.
Helios.
Scene.
Scene.
Return to
No,
sender.
it's
No,
a signed autograph. He is a old live action TV
oh no,
star.
he's Ringo Starr just answering letters like 20 years out of date. As they're walking along, just you might find some connection to Mithras if he's indeed real. He little like you in the sense that he is a renowned warrior, known to be a ferocious and heroic demigod in the various pantheons. But it's not just ours that we find him in, it's other cultures that we've plucked from. So something of him has persisted. Might be worth reaching out to him.
When I recalled the other names that Apollo told me long ago, it made me think, perhaps in the way that we see our gods from the settlement they were a part of, there were other settlements that had spawned their own gods.
Mhm. From what I know of him, he predates at least a certain amount of our stories. Been adopted in one way or another, and he has his own cults. Maybe I could try and remember some of the local prayers.
Would be
If that might help you.
appreciated.
When we get to the next town. Unless, Mal, you have something? I didn't mean to step over you.
You seem more learned in the ways of this. There are still many questions that I have as far as your knowledge of the past. You speak with such surety for things that for us generally are... Sorry, the sand in my mouth.
We've been walking on grass for
Sand in
20
your
minutes.
mouth?
What's wrong with you?
That, for whatever reason, broke me. I know of these stories that those in Kemet speak of Amun, Atun, and Ra. But they always seem so lofty and far away. Even the way that those within the realms of Kemet speak of their deities differs in the way that you speak of the deities. Those here in the lands of Hela seem to have distant relation. They see them as lofty personas. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that they exist in a physical sense, if I am speaking clearly.
Hmm.
I'm afraid I'm of no more help or of knowledge about them as you are, dear Phoebe. As I have said, my knowledge is vast and all and around, but I have not bothered with the divine. They exist as flowery commentary to a culture's existence. I am going to have to rethink that point of view, I suppose. She hobbles along. Davos and Xanthus walking side by side on either side of behind Themisto. Davos. It was a surprise to be able to speak face to face with Ares.
But it's just further clarified the fact that the Misto is indeed going to be one of the greatest Pythias ever to walk the face of this planet.
One of the greatest.
That's such a funny sound effect for that expression. Just when one has that type of emotion flow through them, that disconnect sound.
Nope.
No, not just yet.
Sounded like he was connected to his CB radio or something.
It did.
There we
There
go.
we go.
There we go.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Clear.
Oh no.
Oh dang.
What was that?
There we go.
It's a bunch of things failing.
Do you have
Well-
Pip from Acolyte in your
Bleep, blurp, blurp, blurp.
Bleep blurp. Bleep blurp. Okay, we are back to work. Okay. What was wrong with
Alright.
my connection? Don't worry, Martel, it's not you. It's me.
But also you.
But also me. I will fix this weekend. Get it fixed before next week. Okay.
Yeah, lost myself in the compliments for a moment. It's a lot of pressure that you're putting on me. I am going to do my very best. I am happy that you had such a good experience talking to Lord Ares.
Are you looking at both the boys when you say this?
Yeah.
Make an insight check.
They both look
They
hungry.
did not have a good experience. I have a 22 for my insight.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Yay, good no dice.
Okay.
And I can look at both of them in the eyes because my snakes can help.
Yeah.
Wait, does the Misto see through all of their eyes at once?
It's not like a compound eye
Oh my
fly sort of
goodness.
situation. It's more of like I get a sort of snake sense that there is things going on.
Cleo's like a very intimidating stare. Otherwise, very same to the other snakes, but it's more chilling to have Cleo stare at you.
Okay. There you go.
Interesting.
Ma'al, she continues to walk.
Well, time will tell. Can't say for sure I have not met any other Pythias, so I have nothing to compare them to. But so far that I have seen, she seems rather capable. And she flies. Though not of her own volition.
That
But
reminds
Should
me,
I
I,
be
s- I still owe you a flight. So.
Not many Pythias.
yes.
Not many Pythias can say that they have flown. Strike one for you. A good strike. Good strike.
Yes, there's a expression. 3 strikes, you're in.
Beautiful.
Sounds good to me.
No. Canon.
Dating
It's
is
canon.
different in the Hellenic period.
These cultures are so fascinating.
Oh Lord.
Phoebe, I am looking forward to that flight.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Do we all get one? Cypress says with like a little bit of a smile.
I mean, if you really want to, but I can only fly once a day, so you have to take your turn. And you'll have to leave your shield and some of your armor because I'm not as strong as you are.
Well,
I would hate to drop you from like halfway up. You've already been knocked on the head too many times. I don't know though. Maybe it would knock the dent out. We could try.
do you think that
I'm
would
not
happen?
the scholar here, but I don't think that is the way that works.
Laertes, is that how that works?
Let's find out for science, sweetie.
I can't tell
Not
whether
before
you're
I
being
get my
honest
turn.
or not.
Alrighty. All right. So we'll say that you travel for the next 4 hours, before you see Kypantha in the like for sure directly in front of you. You can see it a little ways off, but with this dim light, it kind of makes it a little bit of a strain. And you've watched the sun slowly setting in the horizon. You see that it is in fact moving. You see that it is in fact there. The couple of clouds that a couple of clouds that roll across the sky in the afternoon create an odd, super darkened shadow to their existence. Without the light of the sun catching them, it's almost like these normal, small, not superfluous, but these small little clouds that would normally just like pop into existence and disappear again. It's like these things look like dark thunderhead, like super dark clouds, but they're just these teeny tiny little things. So it's kind of strange to see them like poofing across the horizon. But you get to the edges of the city and you can see that it is lit. There are lanterns and a couple of watchfires that are burning on the they don't really have like a large city wall here. It's kind of like it's still a wall, but it's little, only goes about like 20 feet into the air. It looks like it's made of like mud and stone kind of things. It's doing the best we can for a small city. It's not like it's built to be a fortified defense. It's just, this is to, basic defense.
Before we go into the city, one more stupid try where I'm not going to hear anything. Mithras this time. Before the sun goes down. I'm nervous about it coming up again tomorrow.
You can give it a shot. I don't think I will be able to help with this one. I don't know a thing about him.
It's alright. It's yelling into whatever this is. The chances are I will not hear anything back, but maybe someone will answer. Might I borrow your shield again?
Yes, of course.
And then this time she'll angle it to wherever the sun is angled. Again, knowing it can't catch much. But once again, pushing her light into it and letting it bounce back out. Hey, Mithras. I'm probably supposed to say something like, oh, great Mithras warrior. But if you're a demigod, hey, I'm a demigod, and this is not going to work. But I could really use someone to help teach me about the sun powers before the sun is gone forever.
Laertes kind of just want to lean into frame a little bit, and like Apollo, he is a god of justice. Try appealing to that. And he just sort of leans back out of frame.
I want to use my gifts to spread light, to fight this darkness that is trying to sweep across the land. It's already tried to dim the sun. I could do that a lot better with some help.
Make a religion check.
Now we're getting the Persians involved. Okay.
I have inspiration from somebody last week. Oh, that's a lot better. 22. I think that might have.
Offering.
I can't remember if that was Elvie. I think that was Elvie. Elvie. Mwah. You bumped it up 12 points.
Merci, el viejo.
You. Not that you've reached a point of desperation, but the means of which you beseech this Mithras is very much different than how you would feel you would normally beseech one of the gods, especially beforehand. Now, it's kind of hard to tell. Whereas before there was no feeling of acceptance, receiving, receptiveness. I don't know, one of those words. You feel heard somehow. Something connected. But there is no reply. But the sensation is different. It didn't feel empty. It didn't feel alone. Sensations beyond that you do not sense. But at least this time you feel you saw the little button that goes see red.
This is just
Delivered.
Phoebe getting a listserv of all the sun gods to whom it may concern.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
get your mug.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
there you go.
A sun god teaching opportunity.
Hmm. Phoebe out here sounding like a mesothelioma ad there.
Yeah.
Ooh, echo.
It's me turning this
Bleep
back on.
blop.
Bleep blurp. Every time. Okay.
Delightful.
It's okay. I'll figure this out. It's fine. I just need to not move. Just don't move, Aaron. Just don't move.
It's like when you're trying to find a thesis advisor. Please, I think you're kind of cool, and if we could just like work together. I know you're really busy, but
Sweetie, your degree's in theoretical phys ed. No.
Love it. Okay. There we go. All right. All right. As okay, so that's how that was a sensation you felt. I don't know if you said anything else after that.
no, just dumb jokes.
Heard. Anything you do want to say after that to everybody else?
We'll see. Well, I've
Ma-
got.
Ma'al kind of like,
I don't know.
she squints at you a little bit.
I'm gonna squint back.
Hmm. She just shrugs.
I think now might be a good.
Say we
Yeah.
could take a break before we enter the city. Okay.
Mm.
Those of you who can't hear Aaron, we're going to take an early break since we're about to head into a new city, and so Aaron can beat the technology within an inch of its life. We'll see you in about 10-ish minutes.
English. Working? Yes, I can
Folks,
hear.
you missed Iskra speaking Farsi to us. Your loss.
Wow.
I don't necessarily know how sexy that is. But
I think we'll be the judge of that.
it's a very pretty language.
Yeah.
Do it in your NPR voice.
Now do
Our
it.
viewers skyrocket.
Now do it while you're juggling, and also the room's on fire, and also.
Oh, it'll be hot after that, I'll guarantee you.
Selam Shannon. No, I can't even get started. Shanavendegon. Esisemen.
Okay.
Yara?
Meanwhile, Tara's just eating some dino nuggies.
No,
Are.
as one does. Oh, there they are. I was like, they don't exist. There's nothing there. He's pulling a hook on us.
It's magic.
No dino nuggie. All the dino nuggie. Okay.
You're doing it, Peter.
Yeah.
Soon there will be none.
I want dino nuggies. It's fine. Okay.
Call your mommy.
Mommy! Okay. I have so many comments to that. I'm just gonna keep them to my fucking self. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Okay, anyway.
Please tell me that's how every person in this town speaks. That is now the regional accent of Sparta.
Can you imagine? I was
Yes.
fucking one of yous.
That explains so much about Sparta, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Canonically explains Gerard Butler.
Yep. Okay.
And his digitally painted abs.
It's the regional accent of Texas. Totally. Okay. Let me, as you continue your little walk. Oh, that is not correct. Let's do this one. You do see that the gate is currently not quite closed, but it is not quite openly welcoming. There is a contingent of guards on the outside that seem to be inspecting people as they enter. One after another. You see them ask what their business is. And I need you all to make a perception check for me.
Please don't fail me now.
Okay, because I failed.
Occasionally I'm paying attention, even with my -1 perception. Broken clock and all that.
What did you... Alright, so Themisto,
19.
19. Phoebe,
Natural 1.
cool. Cypress,
Would have been 19, but actually 18.
awesome. Laertes,
22.
okay.
Phoebe is looking at the Misto, looking at the cards.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say also, it's just kind of one of those things that you keep looking up to the sun.
The sun.
You keep seeing it as it starts dipping lower and lower in the horizon. And
I'm
you
thinking, will it come back tomorrow?
You're seeing that at the moment it would probably be close to like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. It's in the horizon, and you can see that the shadows are growing extremely long. It looks like it's almost dusk. Should be, by all intents and purposes, a golden hour, or approaching thereof, like the afternoon part, where the sky starts to shift in hues. But it still stays the same. It's almost like the world around you has gone black and white. Not to that degree, but to that degree of like, there's no color. The color's muted, I guess you could say. The color is muted to the world around you. Laertes, Themisto, Cypress, you hear or see Nice. You hear and see that the guards, asking the purpose for their visit, more than most. No. Almost all, I guess is a better way of saying it. Almost all are looking for shelter. The sky is darkened. We must be safer together, right? It must be. You hear murmurs back and forth. Various notions of the same, but most of the denizens here seem to be of the opinion that it is better to be together and facing whatever wrath the gods are bringing upon the world. And one by one, some of them are let in, some of them are turned away. And it doesn't seem to make really any sense with who that the guards are choosing. It's almost like whoever is the most annoying is told to get lost. Whoever seems the most sincere, most frightened, there, let them in. And finally, it gets to you lot. Immediately, the guards, these are human guards. They look over at Davos and Xanthus, kind of just raise an eyebrow, seeing Spartan, but not in. They have their gear, they look Spartan, but they're not with any legion or regiment of soldiers. These are just two that seem to be young and on their own, following this band of hapdash individuals. Themyscira, do you have your hood up or down?
Up right now.
He looks around the guard. Purpose for visiting.
I am an aspirant Pythia. I am here on pilgrimage. My name is Themisto of Delphi.
An aspirant. You are far away from home, are you not?
Such is the nature of our journeys. I must see the world, so that I may better serve the people.
And the curious time to be visiting.
Well,
You can hear there's a couple of whispers, like, oh, she's an aspirant, but yeah, they start like whispering in the group that's around.
we do not dictate the god's time, of course.
The
We
guard,
only wish to stay one night, and then we continue on our path.
you hear from inside the gateway.
Abderos, move out of the way. You are bothering my guests.
An older woman like pushes the door open slightly, and with cane in hand, a tall staff, she comes forward. This aged, hunkered-looking woman, because we need another old lady to.
It's
scare
Ma.
Zagreus. She comes forward, like walking.
Oh,
up.
it's you!
Abderos, I have foreseen that these guests would arrive, and here they are. Come with me, child. Move and ask someone else your annoying questions, Abderos.
And she shoos the guards aside and gestures.
Come, follow me, follow me.
Is she a human woman?
She's human, yeah. Looks about 80,000.
So just this dried up rune of a lady. Looks like Hans Mole Man.
Yeah.
Come with me, come with me.
She kind of looks over at Ma'al, just kind of looks at her just questioningly, I guess you could say, and then
Come.
I step forward and look to everybody.
the guard bows over to the side. Only this time,
Follow her
Marpe.
through.
Just this once, Marpe. Go on, be gone.
How do you
Can
spell
you? Yeah.
Marpe!
Does Marpe have any sort of religious symbols or anything on her personage?
Make a perception check for me. Sorry.
I will do this thing. And my dice will roll onto the floor. And it is halfway between a 14 and a natural 20, so unfortunately I have to reroll. And there it goes again. This time I made a much smaller desk than is normal. However, it did land on a face this time. That is a 26. Because I. Oh, wait, my snakes are covered up. Maybe I need to reduce my bonus somewhat.
It's fine. You got some
Okay.
little perky eyes in there. It's fine. Okay. She does jangle a little bit. She does have some necklaces, some shells, some bones, and you see two interlocking circles.
Mmm. She's got some bones, some interlocking circles. Do I recognize this at all?
It strikes you familiar, but it looks adjusted somehow. Like there's something you feel like you maybe have seen something like this before, but you can't place where.
Would this be something Laertes would recognize?
Probably not.
Okay.
Greek
Never mind.
Greek pantheon?
Yes.
Okay.
But
But not like a main god?
Not
Like a little
yeah,
more obscure?
It looks like an adjustment of some sort.
C
where they
tier.
kinda- C tier. But she ushers you into the city. This Kypantha is probably about has a population of about like 2,000. It's not like a huge big port, but it's got a decent size for what it is. And the streets are already crowded, especially right here by this gate. You can see a lot of people milling about, a lot of people that don't look like they have anywhere to stay, that have just brought their belongings along with them and are kind of piling up on the streets as they're talking to locals, trying to figure out where to go, where to do anything. As with a lot of seaside villages, this is also kind of on a hill, right? So the closer you are to the water is more the bottom of the city, and it kind of slowly slants upwards up to the top of the hill. This Marbe starts to walk up the city towards the tops of the hill, where you can see some of the bigger buildings are. She looks around as she like walks forward. Ma'al leans over to you, Laertes.
Why did she give me such an awful look?
So, sorry, which one was the one that gave her to look at?
Was it
Ma'al?
Ma'al got the
Okay.
the stink eye.
Okay. I think she's just jealous of your beauty regimen.
She like elbows you in the ribs a little bit.
You actually like. You might not hear anything crack, but it makes him think that maybe something has. This old lady's way more spry than this glass man over here.
Oh no.
Marpe continues walking, and she walks at it like, for her decrepit age, she actually walks at a decent clip with her cane, her staff, as she walks and jingles and walks and jingles.
Tecate in disguise again, isn't it?
She continues walking, and she looks around, starts to straighten up a little bit, looks around, and she like, continues to walk. It's almost like her hunch gets less and less and less, and she begins to walk a little taller and a little taller as the facade starts to melt away just enough. The old crone-like black white hair gives way to black hair. She kind of runs a hand through it, and it's almost like when you you've seen the hair color jobs that it's like colored beneath the surface of the hair. So it's like you almost like it like moves and it like now has a sheen or a shimmer to it. It's almost like the white on top gives way to the black as she like starts pulling her hair over to one side. And as it like she continues to just pull it, it just now is less white and less white. Back to these black.
Is she
long,
still a
luscious
little old
colors.
lady?
She's does seem to be a little shorter than you remember, but when she turns her face, you see the twinkling eyes of Helena of Ilum, also known as Hecate of the Greek gods, and you now recognize the symbology as being something akin to the gates that she has as part of her symbol. Or at least a version of it, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
nod in that direction.
I'm sorry for the ruse, but people here know me by a different name.
What were you gonna say, Cypress?
Cypress has been walking alongside you, Phoebe, and until this moment, you've seen that he's like kind of tense and is staring at this old woman character, but he keeps like side-eyeing you, like.
I'm just like put my hand on your wrist, like, please don't.
And then when this reveal finally takes place, he literally goes, and everyone hears him say this. I was about to check, and everyone would have laughed at me because there's a trope going on. I knew it.
Oh, Cypress. Ever the dear sweetheart. I can't say that I was expecting you to have company. She looks over at Mahal. But it is a pleasure to meet you. I have heard of you. You may call me Helena of Ilum.
Helena of Ilum. Quite far away from where you are supposed to be from, no?
You can say that I get around. Now,
Meanwhile, we are also all quite far from where we originally hail from. You as well.
I suppose.
Helena, she continues to walk, and it seems like the further away from the gate that she gets, she takes you around a corner and into what looks like a alleyway, and has to go past a this archway has like a cloth barrier or a cloth door almost that she kind of pushes aside to walk past, and as you guys follow her, the last of her ensemble has washed away by now. And the staff that she carries now has the almost like slivers of moon that normally she would have. And even that she kind of like shakes, and this large staff kind of like contracts down into what looks like a small wand, and she kind of slips it into the robes and folds of her clothing. I must tell you that I congratulate you on your yet another almost victory.
We survived at least. But it seems that we are still a step behind.
But not by much. Things are definitely heated, maybe even intense, I suppose you could say. She looks up at the sky. Circumstances are a lot more dire, and I could not just stand and watch from afar, at least for the time being. I do have a small sanctuary here. If anybody asks, which Nobody probably will. But you are guests of Marpe, and I am a beekeeper. Well, I have a few places where we keep bees. This is one of them. But you'll be staying, and she kind of points up the hill a little bit. And she's like, just over there, I have a small home. It's not quite a temple, but a safe place where you can stay the night. Most of the inns and other homes of staying are taken for the evening. Many have come in from the countryside to the major cities to try and huddle together. They fear what is coming.
Yes, I think I would have a hard time trying to quell such fears. And I know at towns we go to, people are going to be looking to us for answers.
Unfortunately, we don't have many. At least not yet. But come on, we can speak more clearly at home. She continues to walk, and you can now see Ma'al is just kind of like, has just been not saying anything, but just watching the whole time. Looks over at Laertes and goes,
I'll explain when we get there, but it's a good thing.
doesn't say anything, just kind of like goes with it. You make your way through the town, and even in this late of the evening, it is now, the globe of the sun is now setting in the horizon, and by the time you reach the house, the shadows are dark. In fact, just as you're entering into the door, she like opens the way for you to enter into. There is, you take the moment to kind of look up at the sky, and it's just pitch black.
There's no stars.
No stars. You see Helena follow your eye line, looks up into the heavens. Kind of tries to offer you a warm smile, and then gestures for you to go inside.
Astrid must be hurting at this side.
Come inside. Going inside the place, you hear Hecate call out, Herodian, we have guests. Please prepare a few beds, if you don't mind.
Is it lit inside?
It is. Yeah, it does look like a... it's not quite like a place... You're such a dork. I love you. It is not quite a...
You didn't stay outside long enough to justify this.
You didn't,
Phoebe and Rhapsody.
yeah.
Is this the real
Oh,
life?
that's later tonight, sweetie.
Oh no!
No escape from reality.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Okay. It's not quite just like a house or a villa. It's almost like this weird combo of like, you can tell this is a shop. There is definitely the scent of honey in the air. There's definitely a slight humming buzz sound, but you see no bees, but it's almost like you don't know if it's part of like, if you did like for a modern person, you would imagine that this is like some subliminal track that they're just playing on loop in the background to make you feel like you're in a hive, but it's just like there's like a little bit of a that kind of like,
Despite the tension of the moment, Emma still feels a little bit more relaxed by this. She does have a fondness for bees.
there's a few of the walls that have shelving that has just different jars, some clay, some like more of the ceramic variety. There's even some that look like the beginning stages of like a clearish crystalline kind of jar that has nice little amber liquids in them, and it just smells really sweet inside. coming from around one of the back open rooms, a older human man comes around the corner. Huh? Elena, Marpe, is that you? And this old man, who looks like he would be the counterpart to Marpe in the old people variety. Oh, it's you. Yes, mistress, I will go and fetch whatever is needed. Pleasure meeting you. My name is Herodian. If you need anything, just call my name. I'll hear it. He goes around to the side, back where he came from. You can hear him start shuffling and moving stuff around. Please have a seat wherever you like. You have walked quite a distance. I don't know where to begin.
You see Laertes like just sort of shakingly get into a seat finally.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of imagine everyone kind of like melts into their seats a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is he still alright?
As far as I know. Whatever happened in per se, something has changed. Although I don't know what. It is becoming harder and harder to tell these days.
You don't think that us helping that young man had something to do with this?
No. No, I don't think so. But the longer that it takes for us to hunt down these other fragments, the more they gain something. It was unclear what exactly these fragments experienced whenever it was locked away for the last 1,000 years, but we assumed that it lost some of itself. It wasn't really put together. None of the plague ever is.
Is this what the world looked like back then?
No. No, but there were stories before the migration. The plague always affected things differently in different places. But the lack of light, they generally try to block out sources of light. It's not uncommon. What scarier places are there than being in the dark? For most.
Phoebe will almost instinctively, not to its full power, but cast light on her bracelet.
Might it have something to do with our friend leaving?
No. This happened before that.
What happened as the spirits came to face us? When they said they had come for the one with light.
Yes, I believe that Phoebe could be Apollo.
Kate smiles, but just more of a smirk.
It was just the remnants of the plague. I think they were confused. Since Negush is not here, I think it knows better.
Perhaps. From what I am able to tell, I am not able to see everything. I've tried to watch you as much as I can, make sure that you are being safe, but I have so many duties. I'm not always able to see everything that happens. I have a few members of the fold that have been recently activated, put into the field. trying to gain as much information as we can from different locations. The sun still shines in Ilum.
It is good to know that it is not the whole world.
No. No, but a good portions of Hellas is in darkness. Particularly Sparta.
That's where we're headed.
We must be getting closer.
It would be a safe bet that that is somewhere you must go. It is a large population center, and undoubtedly there are members of the cult of Phobos who are going to be there. If they are indeed gathering fragments, it would make sense that that would be where they would be heading, at least one of the places. But it is also a larger city and easier for it to hide. But also it is a larger city and easier for it to grow. If that is indeed what it's still wanting to do. It's not acting like it normally would have before. Anywhere that the plague had gone before, it consumes everything in its path in its entirety. But we have seen since it was freed from the Atlas that it does destroy, but it doesn't do so in every case.
I think he's trying to spread fear. To draw him out by dimming the sun. To make him show himself.
More than likely.
How much sway does Phobos have over himself? How much sway does he have over Baldura itself?
She just shakes her head. I don't know.
The reason I ask is the way you described it is that it was more like an illness. It just spread as it could.
Yes.
This seems targeted, methodical. More of an intelligence rather than a simple illness in comparison.
Ares, forgive me. We thought Phobos died 1,000 years ago. It was only recently that we discovered that there were those who worshipped a god of fear. We had not heard of such things before. Sure, there are cults who like to play at the dark things that go bump in the night, but they do not know what truly is out there. But these rumors led to more rumors, and I tried to keep it from his father for as long as possible, so that he would not have false hope. But if Phobos survived the fall of the Old Kingdom, he has more sway than anything has shown before. His cousin loved him very dearly. And she blamed herself for a lot of what happened to him. We believe that that is why she tried to find what she could about the fragments that we had locked away. At least that is what we have found so far. But in doing so, she was overtaken. And in the fight with Poseidon and the others, consumed and split. And is part of the reason we believe that the fragments have not full capabilities of their own mind yet. You had said before that it was discovering itself, the first thing that you came across, yes? They have the beginnings of a mind, but like children, they are still experimenting with what they are capable of.
What of Poseidon and his retinue? Are any of them affected?
Wounded, but recovering.
And nothing else?
We checked. Poseidon has returned to his home in the sea. And the same for his family that had fought alongside him. If you are going to go to Sparta, I must ask that you be careful. There has been increasing stories of monsters and creatures that lurk in shadowy places, especially within the last few hours. I think that these fragments are calling to it that which was left behind by the fall.
That was what I was starting to believe with the harpies. That they were some corrupted line of creatures, and now that it's back, it's tugging at old dormant strings.
You are truly a brilliant mind, Laertes. A true gift for the people of this generation, and with any luck, those to come. So it would seem. The harpies had been well, you are aware of those in Kemet. Those of the feather folk. The harpies had once been something like them. Consumed by the plague during the fall, they had flown and escaped the flood that ensued. Over time, those creatures continued to morph and change, no longer resembling that which they came from, and no longer as powerful as when the plague is fully active. But now I feel that it calls to them. Your journey will be perilous. It is good that you have two stout guardians with you. She looks over at Davos and Xanthus.
It may be perilous. And then the bracelet's gonna get a little brighter, but it will not be dark.
I did happen to catch some of that conversation. Helios is no longer with us. He was one of those that fell during the fall. Some of the others that you mentioned, I don't know where they are or if they still exist. Others I know. Mithras may be of use to you, but your best teacher will be yourself, Phoebe. Everyone, all Orphics, though some have similar ability, must find their own way to use it. It was interesting to watch your self-discovery. It made me yearn for a similar time when we were all discovering new things about ourselves. It feels like so long ago. I guess it was. Do you sleep well, Phoebe?
Last night feels so long ago. But no, not last night.
I heard that you had had a dream. What did you see?
Saw myself. Had fallen to the plague. I faced my companions.
She looks over at the Misto. You have an air of understanding.
I do. It was something I intended to give in confidence. But I saw it too.
If there is one thing that I have learned, sometimes keeping things in confidence is not always the wisest.
Nevertheless, it was a dream. It was not Phoebe who was doing those things.
Phoebe, may I see your mind?
Yes.
She reaches out a hand and places it on yours and squeezes. And in a moment, as you try and relive the dream you had, all of it, the burning black fire, the scared look on your friends' faces, their wounds, the terror that they felt. She comforts. It's like a comforting presence, like going through a bad memory or nightmare, but yet someone familiar, almost maternal, holds your hand, and it gives you the confidence to see it without fear. For those of you on the outside, you see Hikata's eyes kind of like roll back and like shake back and forth. And there is this almost like dark swirling vortex of sparkles, almost like a negative version of the ones that you have used before. This golden, sparkling pixie dust that normally surrounds you, Phoebe, whenever you use your abilities. This is blackened and purple and green, and it just kind of like occasionally lifts from her arm and then dives back down again. And it almost makes the room seem to grow darker for a minute. And you see Ma'al's eyes are just going like, what is happening?
And that light is swirling around Hecate.
Mm-hmm. And then it simmers down and stops. She opens her eyes. Fascinating. Themisto, that was not a dream. That was a memory. But it was not Phoebe's memory. During the fall, Helios, a being of brilliant light and beauty, when he fell, the first signs of craze took the will from his mind. The plague made it its own, and he nearly razed portions of the earth. People you saw in that dream were his companions that had been at his side. Their faces replaced with memories of your own companions. I understand a little more now. But I will have to see if this theory is true. But I find it curious that you contain such an enormous gift of power of the sun and fire. Very much like a friend of old. I don't know why you would contain the power of Helios, but I don't think those creatures were particularly wrong either. You may not be Apollo, but you are the closest thing to Apollo that they can see right now.
As long as it keeps them away from him.
Noble until the end. I have much to consider. I wish that I had better news. But know that you are not alone in this fight. What we are experiencing is, well, it will either rally the gods or infuriate them. But either way, it will not be ignored. Something in this country is drinking away the sun. The darkness is the first step in gaining the fear of the people. find out what the source of this darkness is. And we will. We will. Do not worry. You are not alone. I have some friends I need to go and ask some questions to now.
Before you do that, I would like to put someone to your notice.
Sure.
In Presea, we met the children of Asclepius.
Yes.
I'm glad we met them.
They are brilliant young individuals.
Mm. I fear now they might need some guidance.
It was only a matter of time.
Mm.
I will make sure that they are spoken to. They will be valuable assets if they decided to join the fold. Do you think they will?
They felt a strong pull to help where they are. I can understand that.
As can I.
Mm.
Ares is currently seeking an audience with his father. The son being blotted out might cause a stir that undoubtedly Zeus has noticed. It's about time. I will make sure that Herodian gathers some provisions for you in the morning for you to continue your journey. But try to avoid being on the roads traveling by nightfall. Make sure that you have shelter, somewhere safe, easily defensible, just in case.
I would say we would leave it first light, but honestly, I don't know what tomorrow will bring.
I can guarantee you that the sun will rise. It just may not be as bright as you are used to.
May I ask, what does Nix think of us and our mission? Does she know? Would it make sense for me to offer something to her for passage?
You can if you wish. But I have not seen or spoken to Nyx in 400 years now. I do not know where she has hidden herself away.
Appropriate for a goddess of nighttime.
But if you reach her, tell her I am looking. I am not going to go far. I will be back. But I do have some
When-
questions.
I have some questions when you have time.
Go for it. I'm here now. Where I'm going, they probably aren't expecting me right now, so they can wait. I'll give them peace for a moment longer.
Aratus told me a little bit more about me. Where and he kind of just holds out his hand. There's this little slight distortion as light tries to bend around it a little bit. Where that comes from. It fades out almost immediately. How many others before me with this power died?
I don't know. We have no way of determining a person's Orphic ability without coming into contact with them. And now, as a civilization, we are spread across a globe that makes the few of us who do exist and know of each other. It will take a long time for us to try and find everyone. And until a method is perfected in which we can detect from larger distances than face to face,
I apologize. I'm asking the wrong question. The very thing that keeps me standing is what's killing me.
I see.
How did Cronus do it?
I could not tell you. That man was incredibly smart, but also the biggest buffoon you've ever met. I'm sure he had his ways. He had his secrets. Undoubtedly, he had his secrets. I don't think any human or otherwise could keep the amount of information that man possessed. I would have to ask someone who knew him better. But from what I knew of him, some said that he existed in multiple places at once. I don't know what that meant. He would often joke about it, but I don't know if he was serious or just crazy. He was a crazy old man who was very, very powerful. But if there was indeed someone who had to learn the hard way, it would have been him. A few who
Gaia may know, if you'd want me to ask her.
Oh, that's right. I do forget that you have ways of communicating with her.
Please.
Since the fall, we have only encountered a handful of others who have the Orphic capability that you do, Laertes. But they learned it through different means and had an understanding, somewhat, of what they were doing before they started collapsing space on itself. You started with the Big Bangs and are now having to learn the gentler approaches, more finite things.
What happened to them?
Two died. One by a monster. One crushed by the weight of his own hubris. Another walked away from the fold. And the other one disappeared. He was in the priory one moment and then gone the next. And he has not reappeared since. All of them quite capable in their abilities. But as with anything, we might live a long time, but we still die. Experimenting with your limitations is important, but also not pushing so far beyond them that you don't understand what you are getting into.
I've been trying to take that slow.
But now you know what you need to do. I'm sorry that I did not see it sooner. But I also don't have the eye that those two do. Themisto, when you speak to Gaia, does she sound whole?
She was absolutely beautiful. As I said, I believe she first appeared to me as a warm, radiant yellow light, and then took a form, a giant, reduced down to my size, so we could speak face to face. I think that she is well, but if anything, she sounded surprised. I think if there is any part of her that is not whole, it is the rift left by what was lost. In the way of feeling, more than the physical self. I do not know how she accomplished the feat she did, if it was just a part of the vision or if this is actually the way that she is, but she is, of course, well, never mind.
It is good to hear these things, to remind myself that there are those of us who still live. I know that there are still plenty of us who still live from those times, but it is warming to know that not everything was lost. Though I hope that you do not experience the same turn of events that I did, I hope that one day you all can see for yourselves how great a thing we were.
When I am back at the colony, we all looked at a map of a kind. It showed us door. A door in Mount Parnassus. To Gaia. Perhaps when this is all over, we can think If it is not too presumptuous. With you and Laertes both, maybe we can find a way to use it.
That will truly be a feat. Not impossible, but it would require a lot. And I don't want to strain poor Laertes. He already has so much on his plate. She smiles.
And I must speak to the Pythia as well. I have to know what she knows of these things.
Nothing. Well, not nothing, but I can say with a confidence that you will be the first Pythia that has seen as much.
They say a difficult thing for me to swallow, I think.
They knew a lot. But our orders are very clear. Aside from those of us in the fold, no one is to know of the past. And that to me is the greatest sin. For I feel a fear that we are doomed to repeat past mistakes this way. She shrugs. I was going to say, Cypress, your family, your home, I check in on them from time to time. I know that you and that girl are bonding, and it's fine. Aphrodite is a woman of many talents. I personally have never seen the appeal, but she has her parlor tricks. But I wanted you to hear it from someone who isn't playing with your mind. Not that she's playing with your mind on purpose, but she likes to play games. And I am a straight shooter, as they say.
Thank you.
She is powerful, but she can be a bitch.
I'm mentally keeping myself from coming to a thought around that.
I'm sure she will have words for me for saying as much, but so be it. I can arm wrestle her any day. Now, what I wanted to say was that and I hope that this doesn't go not necessarily badly, but I may have started a rumor of a story inside Deeps. A friend of a merchant who had heard from a fisherman of a Theban boy would help rescue a village from some pirates. Some truth in it, there's some embellishment. You hear Ma'al go, "Ha! See, I told you."
Can you
But
remind me of the name of this village in case I get asked about it?
it's not important.
Okay. I'll just nod.
When you return to Thebes, and you will, I have the confidence that you will have so many stories of your exploits. It will be hard to keep track of them all. But I did make sure that this story of a friend from a fisherman who knew a farmer found its way to a servant who told it to a guard who told it to a prince. And he wishes for your quick return and knows that it is forthcoming soon.
Thank you.
I'd like to see Aphrodite do that. Well, as I said, I have to go speak with a man or 5. I will return when I'm able. You are in my sanctuary after all. So, please get some rest. Me and you, Laertes, have more to speak soon. Before you leave.
Mm.
But you have had a long day of travel and a very stern beating by a very angry squid thing. So
I had my hands full with something else at the time. He's giving that full 1,000-yard stare while trying to be like jovial about something terrible.
I wish I had seen the entirety of it, but
I saw
saw
the
enough.
interior of it.
as only you can, I'm sure.
Oh, I get it.
Mm. The Kraken or whatever it's called, it's
Serapis.
definitely corrupted by Baldura. I got that much from it.
There were once great leviathans that swam the seas of this world before our arrival. Some of them escaped corruption. Some of them did not. Serapis and his ilk are few, but they are some of those old leviathans that were changed. Well, Serapis is the spawn of those things.
Do any of the original Leviathans still roam?
A handful. 2, maybe 3. But they have, for the most part, gone dormant over the last few hundred years, making them rather impossible to find.
Think of all that they have seen.
Perhaps we may never know. Well, eat some food, take a shower. You smell like a fish market. Get some rest. I'll be back
Thank you.
soon. Of course, I have to look after my children. Even if you aren't my children. You are all my little babies now. Unfortunate for you. Because I will see everything. You cannot hide from me.
Everything.
As long as I'm looking, I will see everything. I have my ways. All mothers
Cypress is very pointedly not looking in the direction of two of the party members.
So she's just like hard eye locking with Laertes now. Is that
Just
Beautiful.
The mister blushing a little.
You will, in your mind, Themisto, hear a voice. Okay, maybe not everything.
I'm so glad we got to see her again.
She's great.
She gets up. Stretches. Goes over to this stone archway that sits in the room. Runs a hand along each of the stones that goes along the archway. You see them light up one after the other with runes. And a portal opens its way. And shifts. And it's like looking through a weird ripply reflection of water, like almost like a pond that's kind of been disturbed, so you can kind of see the reflection of things, but it's like moving in such a way.
Stargate. Got it.
Kind of,
Awesome.
yeah, kind of. But it doesn't give you the idea of it being a reflection of the room. It looks like you're looking into another space, and beyond it, you see a massive black citadel surrounded by a cavernous space and lit by lava below. I will be back. And she steps through the portal. Whoosh. And then the portal it disturbs even more with her passing. And then as it shimmers, it just kind of dissipates into the little sparkles of black, green, and purple.
Now, the player have a guess, but does that look like anything from any stories we would have heard?
Did we just see what I thought I saw?
It is possible that you have heard the stories of Hades and his realm below.
Hades got that Bowser Castle.
level 8.
Walking around the corner from in the archway that he had that had just portaled Hecate to wherever she went. Herodian comes in with a small tray of like honey bread, some churned butter, and what looks like a large decanter of wine. I've brought some refreshments. He comes and sets them on the table in front of you all.
Thank you so much.
And as you guys begin to partake and relax for the evening, this is where we will end for tonight. Ooh.
That was dope.
Yep.
I got a conversation for you, Cypress. It's
Yeah.
coming.
It's coming.
You're ready.
So you fucking better be ready, bro. You better be ready.
I wear armor about 13 hours a day.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about emotional armor?
Never on.
Never
Okay.
on. Yeah, that sounds about right. Nice. Well, that was exciting. I was sitting on some of that stuff for a hot minute, and I was like, well, I gotta get to... Cool. We're here. Nice. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Tuesday, provided we have no internet outages or whatever other random occurrences can occur, because you never know these days. But pray to the gods Tuesday will work out.
But not Helios, because he's dead.
But not Helios, because he has gone, well, not the way of the dodo, because the dodo still exists at this point.
Save it.
Save the
future
dodo.
is bleak.
Beautiful. All right. Well, until we meet again, stay fey, be brave. The safe word is mango. Bunny spread, gaze upon you, and I don't know, 5 other things that we have
There's,
toyed with.
we gotta trim this a little. I think.
Yeah, we gotta take some of this out. It's fine. It's fine. That's all this extra stuff. But yes. Yes. Social. There you go. Good job, Selfie. Thanks, Selfie. Oh my god. Good job, LV. Don't.
Been a day for you,
It's
huh?
been such a day. I feel like I've been talking since 8 in the morning, which I basically have been. All right. We'll see you next time. This keyboard is smaller. That's fine. Whoop-ow. Fuck you. Don't worry. I know your name. All right, bye.
Pull up, Maverick.